Hey, how is it going, everybody? All right, I have some Trump tariff news today. And from 9 to 5 Mac, Trump tariffs attack key parts of the Apple supply chain. Apple stock dropped 7% in after hours trading. Alrighty, so the full extent of the U.S. government's tariffs were revealed by the Trump administration today in a press conference. The hefty tariffs threaten economic trade on a massive scale, with implications on almost all big U.S. companies, including Apple. Now, I got to tell you all, I'm a little surprised by this. I wasn't expecting Apple to get hit, but then if you think about it, as it says right here in this article, the Apple supply chain relies on manufacturing and assembly of its devices in countries like China, India, Malaysia, and Vietnam. All these regions are now facing huge tariffs, which ultimately increases the cost of production and undermines Apple's margins and potential profitability. Trump announced a base rate of 10% tariffs on all imports to the United States, a move that will have significant impact on its own. The 10% levy goes into effect on Saturday, April 5th. All right, but the story gets a little worse. However, the Trump administration is also instating what it calls reciprocal tariffs on select nations where the prices of U.S. exports are said to be inflated by international government measures. These higher rates are set to go into effect next week, April 9th. Some of the heftiest reciprocal tariffs announced today directly target major geographic regions of the Apple supply chain. Most iPhones sold today are made in China, and those imports now face a tariff rate of up to 54%. 54% is no joke, people. A combination of the 34% reciprocal tariff announced today on the top 20% levy the president launched in January. Following the 2018 trade war and COVID disruptions, Apple has accelerated the diversification of its supply chain away from China as much as it can. But these other regions are now facing the ire of Trump. All right, so here we go, people. I was already thinking, and I thought of this, but it takes time to build factories. It takes time to put in the infrastructure, right? And I know a lot of people that are looking for a short, quick answer. They're probably like, hey, well, they can just make iPhones in the United States. You got to build the factories. You got to have the infrastructure in place. You got to have the people. All right, but back to this article here. Vietnam is a big manufacturer of AirPods, Apple Watch, and MacBook models. These imports are now facing a 46% tariff rate. People, this is terrible. I'm not really sure how this is going to balance out in the end. We'll see how it goes. I'm not sitting here being a Trump hater. I'm not a Trump worshiper. I'm just here reporting what I'm seeing. All right. Similarly, Apple suppliers in India will be hit with 26% tariffs, and Malaysia operations will also tariffs as high as 24%. Other parts of the Apple supply chain in other countries are now subject to at least a 10% tariff they never had to contend with before. Trump believes these measures will bring manufacturing jobs back to the United States. But if everything goes ahead as announced today, this will have a devastating impact on Apple's business. The increased cost of production will either see Apple's margins curbed substantially, or the company will be forced to increase the price of its products, and I knew that was going to happen, likely lowering demand as customers turn away by the sticker shock. These fears have seen investors ditch Apple stock with a sell-off in after-hours trading of more than 7%. In absolute terms, Apple closed at $223 a day and is currently sitting at about $207 in the volatile after-hours market. Many other big tech names are also significantly down amid a market-wide sell-off. All right, everybody. Well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully this doesn't turn out too bad. Hopefully this doesn't get crazy. Hopefully we're not spending $2,000 on the next iPhone. Hopefully we're not spending $2,000 on the next iPad. All right, everybody. Take care.